So this is going to be a video journal of me talking, trying to get my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions down, mainly because of the divorce with Jen. Try and give myself some of the cheapest therapy I know of, which is self-therapy. Something I thought about today after having discussion with Jen yesterday about how she's ready to move on to a new person in her life was how that made me feel like my legs had been kicked out from under me. And I don't fully understand why it is that I feel that way after we had such long discussions and we finally completed the divorce. Shouldn't I have felt like my legs had been kicked out from under me at that point? And I guess the reason I came up with tonight while I was working and thinking about it was emotional investment is the phrase I'm going to use. And I gave it some thought, and I realized that when Jen and I got married, we gave each other a promise, gave each other a vow, and I take that sort of thing very seriously. I invested quite a lot emotionally in Jen. And over the years, I've had many of my emotional investments kicked out from under me. When Jen became pregnant with Michaela and Mackenzie, I was so thrilled. Before they were even born, I imagined myself being a parent, and I was emotionally invested in them. And when they did not survive being born, I felt like the wind had been knocked out of me, that my legs had been kicked out from under me. I had leaned on that pillar of emotional investment, and it had crumbled. But I still had Jennifer. When Kaya and Benjamin and Kendall were born, it was a very emotional, turbulent time. One of the other things that I had poured my emotional investment into after the death of Michaela and Mackenzie was my work. When they died, I went back to work and I poured myself into my work, telling myself I would become the best I could, investing myself in Mohegan Sun. And then, when Jennifer was pregnant with Benjamin, I was laid off from Mohegan Sun. And again, I felt like the world was crumbling around me because I had invested emotionally so much in that job. And that pillar crumbled. But I still had Jennifer. And now I had the children. And so I was able to turn then and pour my emotional investment into Kaya and Benjamin and Kendall. Trying to make myself into a better person. Trying to make myself be the best father that I could be, for them. But in doing so, it's obvious from the way things have turned out with Jennifer that I stopped pouring investment into Jen. And she felt that very keenly. I thought I was still investing in Jen. When Jennifer landed the job in Maryland, I said, okay, this is amazing, and I am going to support her in everything that she does here. I am going to help her become the successful woman in business and in her career that she wants to be. And I felt like I was doing that, even though I was taking much of my time to continue my own career and then taking a lot of time to try and be the best father I could. But it's obvious from Jennifer's revelations to me that I was not doing that. I was not investing in her the way that I thought I was. I felt pride each time that she accomplished something. I felt like her successes were my successes because I was helping to allow her to focus on her career more than me, or focus more on her family, her children. But it's obvious she felt like my focus on keeping them out of her hair and keeping myself out of her hair meant I wasn't investing in her. And I deeply regret that now. So, with two pillars to lean on, emotionally invested, I had Jennifer, and I had my family, my children. Because I falsely felt like I was invested in both and was still pouring investment into them, the pillar of emotional investment that I put into Jennifer crumbled. And now, once again, I feel like the wind's been knocked out of me. I feel like my feet have been swept out from under me. I have been incredibly emotional, highs and lows, feelings of rage, frustration, despair, grief. I think a lot of it came to a head last night when Jennifer said to me that she feels like Kendall needs counseling. She came home from having been out shopping with Kendall, told me Kendall needs counseling, that she's having difficulty dealing with the divorce. And since the children are my last and final pillar of emotional investment, I once again tonight felt like my feet were being swept out from under me, like my wind had been knocked out, that I was no longer in control of my life, because this thing that I cannot control Jennifer's actions, cannot control the fact that she has divorced me, and I cannot control the fact that that divorce is hurting my children. And that makes me feel incredibly sad and helpless and frustrated. this final pillar of emotional support, this final pillar of emotional investment that I'm leaning on, feels like it's crumbling out from under me. I feel like I am not being a good father to my children because Jennifer is hurting them with this divorce. And I don't know what to do about that. I'm going to think long and hard about it over the next few days. Hopefully I'll come up with something. But I really feel like I needed to put this down in words, all of the thoughts and emotions that I had last night while I was at work. Hopefully at some point I can come back and listen to this and any other video journals that I decide to make about this whole situation and gain some wisdom from it.